5 major U.S. cities on pace to break a 2021 homicide total just halfway through the year. Milwaukee seeing the largest spike in homicides, the Wisconsin city recording 96 homicides as of June 17th, a nearly 25% increase since a year earlier. Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Baltimore, and Los Angeles also reporting homicide numbers outpacing their violence 2021 marks. Joining us right now is former acting U.S. Attorney General Matt Whitaker. Matt, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much. What is going on in our big cities, Matt?
Good morning, Maria. Well, and I fear that this trend is only going to continue through the summer, which is oftentimes the most violent time of the year. But I think what's happening is you have, again, these political leaders in these cities are not backing the men and women of law enforcement. So you have what's being called a Ferguson 2.0 or a Minneapolis Effect, where both a distrust of law enforcement, a lack of a respect for law and order, coupled with weak politicians who don't support the police, is demoralizing and therefore allowing the police to not maybe be in the places where they should be proactively policing because they know that the political leaders don't have their backs.
I mean, it's putting everybody at risk. Why aren't we seeing more action to correct cashless bail? I mean, we know that the no support for police, the defunding the police movement, and cashless bail is one of the major reasons for this.
It is, Maria, and you know the cashless bail is a terrible policy you have where the police arrest someone on a Friday night and by Saturday night they're back out committing potential crimes. But you also have, for example, in New York City, 80% of the gun crimes that the police bring to the prosecutor's office are not prosecuted. And so this is where these trigger pullers, these people with guns, that want to commit violent crimes are just not only back out on the streets, but they're back out on the streets to menace their fellow citizens and are willing to shoot and kill people. And that's, you know, a very dangerous brew that we're going to have heading into the summer.
And then, of course, there's the protesters as well. The abortion rights protesters continued over the weekend. They're marching in front of the Supreme Court and outside justices' homes. The court is set to release at least one opinion today on Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court has 17 cases from the most recent term that still has to issue opinions on, including the abortion case. AG Whitaker, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm concerned about this political violence. When the Dobbs opinion does issue, which is the Mississippi abortion case, you know, there have already been threats in Washington, D.C. and other places that we're going to have more violence like we saw in the summer of 2020. But there's a lot of important cases. I think about Coach Kennedy's case and his ability to pray after football games. I think about the West Virginia EPA case, which could be a major development in putting the administrative state back in to its, restrictions of the law and making Congress specifically pass these major issues to address, climate change as perceived by the left. And there's so many other important cases, including the New York concealed carry case that could come out. So, there's going to be a series of cases. I think the left, because of the makeup of the court, is going to be very disappointed in those outcomes. And I'm concerned that the radical left is going to resort to political violence to try to make their voice heard.
Well, Matt, we talked over the years about the politicization of so many of our government agencies, like the FBI, like the DOJ, post the Russia collusion lie. Are you worried that the Supreme Court is getting politicized or can be pressured by all of this protesting?
I don't think they'll be pressured. I look at the justices on the bench and, Justice Thomas, who's been a warrior, and, so many of other justices, including Kavanaugh, and their, the politicization of just their appointment, I think was awful and not helpful to the republic. But, the Supreme Court is going to have to endure its, long-term probably going to be one of the key balancing act of this constitutional republic. But obviously the executive branch and Congress are so radicalized by the left currently that, the Supreme Court is the last best hope to try to balance out some of these terrible policies.
All right, we'll leave it there. Matt Whitaker, great to see you this morning, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
Former AG Matt Whitaker joining us this morning. And we'll see you soon, Matt.